Welcome back to Hardball Live in Philadelphia. Pennsylvania's Democratic Senator Arlen Specter is with us. Senator, I was over at the famous deli where you were today, and everybody says you by a couple points. That close.
Well, if I get out my vote, Chris, I win. I'm urging at this point all of labor, which wants me to keep working to stop illegal Chinese imports, to get to the polls before 8 o'clock. I'm urging the African-American community that wants me to keep the school lunch program for children to get out, the people in Erie who want the jobs for GE, people in northeastern Pennsylvania who want that train from Scranton to New York City for a Wall Street West, farmers who want me to keep up the work on price supports and bring jobs for my senior position on the Appropriations Committee.
You know, everybody out here had these signs for you, these big guys over here. Look at these guys. You got big guys out here. They're all saying jobs. Now, I'm interested, how do you bring back industrialization to this state that used to have working jobs for guys that lived in row houses?
I'll tell you.
Where are you bringing them back? They're not here.
I'll tell you exactly. You stop China from selling goods in this country, which are subsidized, which violate our trade laws. They're international bandits. They take our jobs, they take our money, they lend it back to us, so they own part of America. And I have been doing that in the International Trade Commission, where I've argued big cases,
right,
saved a lot of jobs in the tubular steel industry and in tires. And the Port of Philadelphia, for example, has the potential for 125,000 new jobs if we get it down to 45 feet instead of 40 feet, and I'm in midstream on that.
But you've been in office 30 years. How come you've not been able to reindustrialize the state in 30? This state has lost industrial potential year after year after year for 30 years. I mean, for more than that, since I grew up here.
Well,
it just keeps losing jobs. These guys live in row houses. These black people, the white people, they don't have jobs.
Well,
I had a guy standing here said it's about jobs. Where is he? One of these guys out here.
Well, I have brought a lot of jobs. I'm not a miracle man, but I have done a lot to keep jobs. You take the work I've done for raising the funding for the National Institutes of Health. The University of Pittsburgh has gotten $4 billion in the last decade. University of Pennsylvania has gotten close to that.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of good-paying jobs. You take a look at what has happened with my work on stopping Chinese imports, the work we're doing on the currency manipulation.
So you're going to get back, this is a big point in your campaign, are you going to get back the seniority you had as top Republican, as a top Democrat? If you got a hard commitment from the Democrats, you'll get it back.
I have an absolute commitment from the majority leader that I will have a seniority as if I'd been elected as a Democrat in 1980. Absolutely.
And if Harry Reid gets bopped off in the next election this November, who keeps the promise?
He speaks for the caucus, and it's going to be resolved after the election. And that's it. Listen, today I have clout, I have a lot of experience, and I've got a lot of seniority, and I've been able to bring a lot of jobs back, and I've had a very major influence. Like, look,
you've done a great job with appropriations. Earmarking is great, but this state has gone down in industrialization for 30 years.
One last point.
Yeah.
I cast the key vote on the stimulus. Without that vote, we would have sunk into a 1930 depression. That meant 143,000 jobs in this state, meant $16 billion, and I provided the key 60th vote to cut off the debate to have comprehensive health care reform. Now, that's a pretty good record.
Sure is. You make a good case. Please come back tonight with the results, Senator. Your headquarters are at the Sheridan, right?
That's right.
Okay, thank you, Senator.
Nice to have you back in town, Philadelphian.
I think you're the first guy I ever voted for. Anyway, earlier today, Congressman Joe Sestak talked to NBC's Andrea Mitchell about his primary opponent, Senator Arlen Specter. Thank you. Let's watch that.
Well, I think that there's been a generation down there that somehow believes that holding on to your job might even be more important than working for policies that help families. I respect Arlen Specter. He's done some good things, particularly items like NIH funding, and we need to respect that. But I honestly do disagree that one might switch a job because, as he told us, his prospects were bleak against Pat Toomey. He has also switched positions on public option. At the end of the day, he also advanced the Republican agenda of George Bush. I'm a Democrat. I have core beliefs and core convictions.
Congressman, he voted against George Bush time and time again. I mean, I think that it's very clear that there is a strong record that Arlen Specter voted against Republicans as often as he voted against Democrats. He was pretty much a on the independent all
The
along.
actual fact is that on 23% of the time during the 8 years of administration of George Bush, he voted with Democrats. Remember what Majority Leader Reid said one time? Our inspector's always there for us when we don't need him. On those key defining votes like the tax cuts or that tragic war in Iraq, he supported Dick Cheney and George Bush.
Long employment thrown in. Anyway, long-time Philadelphia newsman Larry King. This guy's the pro up here. He's a political analyst for KYW Radio. He's also the host of The Voice of Reason on the Comcast network, which is a very important network these days. Yes. Let me ask you, Larry King, you've worked for all the local affiliates here. You know the job. The turnout here, I get a sense on this rainy day, this Tuesday, that it may not be the big machine vote that Specter needs to win.
I'll tell you right now that I never put weather as a factor in elections. It could be a factor today. The reports I'm getting, Josh Shapiro, the star, the Democratic star of Montgomery County, tells me that the turnout in Montgomery County at this hour, which is pretty big, is 11%. That equates to about a 20% turnout in Montgomery County. I got to believe the turnout in Philadelphia is much less than that, and that might not portend good things for our inspector tonight. Hard to say, though, because you never know with this guy. The guy you just interviewed has always managed to squeak it out.
Right, yeah. To the end. Let me ask you about the job situation. Everybody watching this show knows that we're still in a recession, despite whatever technical arguments you make. I know people in my family have been laid off. It's serious business. People in business like mortgage business, it's brutal out there. Isn't that going to make it very hard to vote for an incumbent for anything in America this time of our country's history?
I don't think people are thinking jobs that much in this primary election.
They aren't?
I think they will think jobs in November.
Look at this guy out here with the Eagles costume on. Look at this guy.
Yeah, but
look at the sign he's got
look
here.
at the turnout. The turnout is so poor. If people really cared about jobs, they'd be turning out. There's more interest in the Flyers game tonight. This is sad. 600,000 people watched the Flyers the other night. 600,000 viewers. They'll be watching at 7 o'clock tonight in the final hour of voting. That's not good for the
process. Take them out of their pain and make them feel good.
I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. One of the big stories in this town, you're in the Beltway most of the time.
Right.
I'm out of the Beltway. When you look outside in, you're looking at the fact that Governor Rendell, Bob Brady, the Democratic chairman of Philadelphia, most of the Democratic establishment in this town is supporting Arlen Specter right to the end. The White House does not look very good tonight.
Why didn't the president show up? Isn't that the question
well,
we have to ask?
He flew to Ohio today. He didn't show up. He didn't do a fresh commercial for Specter.
I don't know.
Sestak people.
Larry, I think this has changed. I don't think it's top-down politics anymore. Nobody gives a rat's butt what the governor thinks or the senators think. They want to know who they want to vote for in their interest. You think endorsements matter today?
Endorsements will matter in November.
Has an endorsement ever got you to vote for anybody? Have you ever voted for anybody because somebody told you to?
Yes, when I was 21. But I'll tell you one thing. This race in the fall, no matter who wins tonight, is going to be rugged terrain. And this has been the dirtiest campaign I've ever seen. The White House is going to have to get involved.
The general's going to be brutal. Pat Toomey's going to be a brutal opponent. Club for Growth, right-wing guy. I think he'll move in a bit to the center to win this thing if he does. Thank you, Larry King.
Good to see you.
We disagree. Top-down doesn't work anymore. Up next, the Democrats hope to hold on to the Senate. We're dealt a serious blow today when the New York Times reported a blockbuster. Richard Blumenthal, the Democrat, the front-runner in that race for the Senate, has lied about serving in Vietnam. Guess what? He didn't, and he said he did. We'll get to that straight ahead. You're watching Hardball live from Philadelphia, only on MSNBC.